Hi, I'm Gary White for Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Dennis Medley at the old Civil War village in Bardstown for Bardstown Colonial Days. This is the 4th annual celebration for this, and I think this might be one of the best days weather-wise.
It certainly is good.
Yeah, it's great. So tell us about the event that's going on here today.
Well, Bardstown Colonial Days, the main mission and focus of the event is to celebrate and educate regarding Kentucky's frontier and settlement history. We put this event in Bardstown because of all the resources here. You have this wonderful log cabin village. Some of these cabins they actually know the provenance of that actually date to the 1700s. You also have a lot of incredible historical architecture, some dating to the 1700s in Bardstown, like the old Talbot Tavern. And we do, for the adults, we have Tavern Night Friday and Saturday night, where we bring the tavern to life with musical instruments, gambling games, dinner and drink, bring it back to life in the 1700s. Then up at Wickland Estate, another great resource. There's a mansion built in 1812, has been home to, I believe, 3 governors. And we, in the past years, had done a historical ball. We postponed that till next year for this time around so we could focus on some other things. But we have a great market fair up there with a lot of wonderful craftspeople and vendors and so forth, all dressed to the period and selling wares and demonstrating skills of the late 1700s.
That's great. And going on behind us is one of the demonstrations as well, I believe, because you have various demonstrations going on. I had a chance to speak to one of the gentlemen working with the beaver fur, and you have some actual people down here pretending to be characters from that era, right?
That's right. Behind us right now is a presentation with Mad Ann Bailey. She was a frontier heroine who did a lot of courier service and Indian fighting on the frontier here and in Virginia. And her real life story is just incredible. So with the first person impersonation, we have someone who does an incredible job helping the public understand why a woman did what she did and what she experienced on the frontier.
Great. And again, it's all in Bardstown. It's been Friday, Saturday, and Sunday because you had it all around the area, right?
That's right.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
He never asked me to give up anything. He never asked me to live in a house, which I would not do. He never asked that I should give up soldiering, hunting, spying, and scouting. Indeed, it was that I was with him or he were with me. And together we traveled. And you think to yourself, what is madness? Madness is a love that overtakes you at 47 years old. I married that man and would do so again any moment. I loved him wildly and madly. You speak of madness. You know nothing of madness until it overtakes you. John and I traveled far and wide together. For though we had defeated the British, though we had sent them back to the places they come from, those yellow boys, the yellow dogs, they would not leave this country. Aye, and the Indian wars continued on, and there were always letters to be delivered, wars to be fought, dogs to be killed. And John and I, together we traveled. And it seemed as though, in 1791, as though the Shawnee were bound to rise up again. Every fort where we would arrive, there would be tell of more of them gathering, and more and more. And so it was in 1791 that John and I arrived at Fort Lee, what had once been Fort Clendenin, and even the Clendenin settlement, we arrived. And Colonel Clendenin, oh, Colonel now, isn't he? Doesn't war do funny things. Colonel Clendenin had heard the same hard news, and he insisted that we should go back to the Virginia War Department and ask for more men and supplies. And on this occasion, he insisted that John should go one direction and that I shall wait for a letter that must be delivered in the other. And we agreed and parted with wishes of farewell. And a few days went by, and on one night, George Clendenin called everyone, much like yourselves, to come together, come into the fort yard. He cried out, come all, come all. And he stood up before us all gathered, whispering and wondering what was it, what attack might be up for us. That is when he said it. He said words that I had heard before. Like a heart stab in me they were. He looked at the men and women gathered and he said, "I've hard news." Hard news. He said that the Shawnee were near and the powder magazine was empty.
Introduce yourself for us. Tell us your name and where you're from.
My name's Fred Lucas, and I'm from Bloomfield, Indiana.
Okay. And what are you doing here today?
I am stretching out a beaver hide. Beaver was used to, the underfur was used to make felt, which was eventually turned into hats once the hide was dried, stretched, and shipped back to a hatter, either, east of the mountains or all the way back to Europe.
Okay. So was this one beaver that you're stretching there, or is
Right.
that's one hide?
Yes, one hide.
Okay. What kind of size would that beaver have been to get that
That's
size?
that's about a 65-pound beaver.
Okay.
So.
Wow. So how long would it take for this to get ready to do what you would need to do with it?
As far as the people out here, as soon as it's stretched and dried, it's done. It's ready to be sold.
Okay.
Once it gets turned over to, an actual hatter, they would do all the process to turn it into felt,
Okay.
which
So-
is way beyond my
expertise.
yes.
So would you have been the one who actually caught this and stretched
Yes.
too?
Yes, using traps just like this, just an old double long spring trap. The technology still works today. And this is regular 18th century trap.
Fantastic. Okay. So in this area were beaver prominent?
They were. A lot of people think of the fur trade and beaver trapping as just being something that happened in Canada. But in the 1780s, there were people trapping beaver here in Kentucky and stretching them on grapevine, just like what I'm doing, to stretch it out. And that's taken from an actual account of an early Kentucky settler.
Okay. So you're actually basing all this on actual history?
Yes, an actual James Wade was the guy's name, and his entire interview is in the Draper manuscripts. And it survives, and we know a lot about beaver trapping here just from what he wrote.
Now, as we're out here, it's going to be almost 80 degrees today. It's kind of warm for beaver, right? But where's your outfit? Would this have been what people would have been wearing back then?
Yes, it is. This is backwoods clothing. I'm dressed partially European, partially native, but that was just pants require a very specialized tailor, and they wear out real quick. And when you're out for a long time, you end up wearing leggings and a breech clout a lot of times, like a native.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.